Everyone enjoys getting out on the town for some live music, and there's nothing like going backstage and down the hall for a VIP pass to the inside information and interviews with the bands, singers, and songwriters that you enjoy. Welcome to Hall Around Town Radio's Backstage Hall, showcase of homegrown talent, mixing independent music with personal interviews and a behind-the-scenes look at our music community. Backstage Hall Pass is your front row center seat to some great conversation with the area's most talented artists. Whether you like rock, blues, folk, country, or R&B, Backstage Hall Pass delivers you a daily dose of the stories behind the music. And now, here's the host of our show, Scott Hall.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the 1 o'clock in the afternoon on this great Wednesday with the band. And I've got some great friends going to join us today. We're going to have a blast with this interview. I've been looking forward to it all week long. And my good friends from the DAT Band are going to join us. And I shouldn't say just DAT Band. I'll leave that alone because I've been scolded already, and I'm going to make sure I get it right. With me is Chris, Reese, and Byron Walton. How you guys doing today?
What's up, Scott?
Excellent.
It's great to have you on the program. I've really been looking forward to this, and I've been wowed by your guys' talent so much. The times that I've seen you at or the Jam, as we're calling it now, at Bell and the Bear, and just love the music you play. I'm an old school funk kind of guy, so. You guys take me back sometimes with the horns and the good stuff, the Earth, Wind, and Fires and such. But let's talk about the DAT Band for a minute and tell me how this thing. Somebody take it.
You cut out for a second. I think you wanted to know how we started and tell us about us, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So we Byron and I were and actually our keyboard player were in another band previously and. Left that band, and then within a couple days, the guitar player called us and was like, "You can't not do anything, so we're going to do something together." And that's how we kind of started. And through different connections with different people, found other folks that would come into the band, and ever since then, we've been kind of doing our thing. And Byron can tell you more about what we do.
How about it, Byron?
Well, when we got together, we wanted to have a group that was going to cover all kinds of genres. We knew that we wanted to be a dance band where folks can just, for a couple of hours, be able to forget about everything that's going on in their life, and they can just have a party with us. So anything that we felt that was danceable, we wanted to do. Whether it was Maroon 5, if it was Otis Redding, if it was Hall & Oates, or if it was Bruno Mars, we wanted to be able to cover it, and we wanted to do it like with our own little twist on it and keep it kind of still original, where we can still have our own creativity.
Well, and you guys are known through the Cincinnati area, at least, as a high energy party type of band that brings the dance floor to their feet and all those things. I mean, the things I hear, about your show, even this past weekend, one that you did at Fretboard, and you guys just had the house rocking, man. It sounded like it was a great show. And you're at Grainworks Brewing today, where you guys are coming to us from, right?
No, this is Byron's basement, actually. This is what it looks like at his house.
I wish.
I'm coming over to Byron's house, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're at Grainworks now. They they have been great to us from the very beginning, and we absolutely love the folks here. And Byron and I and our guitar player for a while had a little trio called the Cue Balls, and we would play here a few times as well. And then we'll be playing here again in September. They're having their 4th anniversary party, and so we'll be here for that weekend in September as well. Yeah, but Grainworks is the best.
Well, we've got some people joining the program live today. And guys, again, if you're out there on the live show today, please share the show afterwards with your music-loving friends. And there'll be a lot of people that watch this because they're busy at work and that later in the day. And we appreciate you tuning in. And if you have a question later in the day when we're not live and you want to pop it up in the comments, Chris and Byron will be watching this thing. They can answer questions in the comments and such, and I can do that as well. So I got a lot of shout-outs going to you there. Mr. David Thornton is watching, another great musician, Wendy Gullett, Heather Mattingly, who we dearly love, and Kristen Knapp is with us as well. She says,
That's my sis.
Hi, brothers. DAT Band rock.
That's our sis. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's great to see people on here and kind of partying with us today on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So, guys, this thing's been going on for how long? How long have you been booking as DAT Band?
So February we'll make our first gig was at where was it?
The Drinkery.
At the Drinkery for Bachfest.
Mm-hmm.
And so February make 5 years that we've been together booking as DAT Band. Yeah.
5 years. Wow. And in that time, have you changed a lot of your music? Have you added a lot of new stuff, or have you pretty much kind of kept to the same thing you always do?
It's funny. I look back at the the first set list that we ever did in the past week, and we've kept probably maybe a quarter to a half of those songs, but we have really kind of revamped the way that we've been doing stuff, and we're doing a lot more R&B stuff than we were originally. We did a lot more rock ish stuff at the beginning, and then and now we're leaning more toward the R&B stuff. But
what happened was we started to notice that folks weren't dancing as much to so some of the rock songs that we were doing, and we just felt that we wanted to keep the dance floor, give folks an opportunity to get on the dance floor. So, we just wanted to keep the party going, and we noticed that our chemistry as musicians really leaned more towards the R&B.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what's wowed me every time I've seen you guys together. And Chris, we've been together at the jam session at the Bell on Thursdays, and Byron gets there obviously when he can, and you've had some other players up there with you from your band. Have that come together, COVID, and still have a place for a musical outlet. And you guys, when you hit the stage, I notice, Miss Kathy Laverde, who runs the list, is kind of amazing the way she can pick up on, okay, maybe the night's taken somebody's done a few slow songs, and maybe it's time to bring Chris and Byron up and absolutely blow the crowd away with something totally different. And when you guys hit that stage and that horn hits and everything else, man, the dance floor is packed no matter where you are, isn't it?
And that's the point, right? Like if people aren't up having a good time and dancing and and just having fun, then there's no point in us being there. That's really what we want to do. We have no illusions that we are going to go on and do this for a living professionally and be on the radio and all that stuff and go on a world tour or anything like that. Like, we know what we are. We're out to get people to have a good time, and that's kind of the point of the whole thing.
Well, I love that in a band too, that realizes that you can reach for the stars, but you guys want to party the crowd that's there, and I think that's really a great thing. And let's talk about some background. How long have both of you been playing music and singing music and all that?
I've been playing trumpet since I was 10. So I went to School for Creative Performing Arts in town. I'm a Cincinnati boy. Had a stint with the College Conservatory of Music at UC for jazz studies. So I've been doing it for quite a while.
So playing since you were 10, you're 21 now, right, Byron?
Sure. All
right.
Absolutely.
Well, you play like you've been playing for 100 years, man. You're a fantastic trumpet player, and we love to hear that. I mean, that just brings that brings a whole new wide fit and fatness to the music. I think it's just so cool. And Chris, how about you? How long you been singing like you do?
Well, I mean, the first time I sang in front of a group of people, I think I was 6. So my dad was a pastor, and so I started singing in church, obviously. And really my whole family did that. So my mom, my dad, my sisters, we all kind of did this music thing. There was always a piano in the house all the time. And like I said, the first time I sang in front of people I was 6 years old. And at some point, my family, I can't remember how old I was, my family sang at like the county fair in front of a crowd of people. So yeah, I've been doing it a minute. Took time off from music for a while, like after high school. And in high school, I was in the mid to late 80s. So I was in a 80s hair band, right? Spandex and the whole thing. And
I want to see pictures.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
yes,
not.
I want to see pictures.
Oh, we have pictures.
No, he doesn't. No, he does not. So yeah, it's been a thing my whole life, really. And but I mean, he and I have been making music for. I mean, we've known each other for 30 years, and so we've been basically making music in one way or another together for that long.
That's incredible. And let's chat a minute about musical influences. You said you go way back, like obviously singing in church, those kind of things. Let's talk about both your musical influences and who really inspired you to go on and entertain crowds and do what you do.
Well, for me, actually, it's not even a horn player. It's JB. It's James Brown. That he's my dude. He was my number one influence as a kid. Seeing him for the first time and just seeing him as a sweaty mess on that stage, and going into the splits and popping himself right back up without using his hands. I can't do that. But it was just a big influence for me. And then musically, there are a lot of horn players that I've listened to, like Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan, a lot of the post-bop guys of the late 50s. And then the horn bands like Earth, Wind & Fire, of course. And I'm looking at the comments. I'm sorry.
I know, I am too. I'm laughing at them. It's great.
Earth, Wind & Fire, Chicago, and Tower of Power, and even today with Lettuce. I mean, I'm still being influenced, and I'm still being pushed. And just like Joe does for me, our tenor sax guy, who's a monster, continues to push me. Mm-hmm. So all of those are influences for me.
Well, I'm from the Dayton area, and it is the birthplace of funk music.
That's right.
Dayton, Ohio, along with Cincinnati as well, with the Midnight Stars and some great bands from way back in the day. And I love that music, man. That music brings people to their feet, and it brings people happiness. It does. And when you guys play, I see the smiles, man. It's good stuff. And Chris, how about you? Who influences you? Because you've got an incredibly unique voice, I think, that people hear, and it's identifiable. If I'm out on the patio at the Bell and I hear, that voice come on, I'm coming back in. I'm coming in to hear you sing because it's good stuff.
I mean, I grew up in a small farm town in Northwest Ohio. And like I said, my parents, my dad was a pastor. My parents were kind of the hippies of the town. So I grew up with a lot of John Denver and kind of folky music kind of stuff. But then there was also in that collection, like Fifth Dimension and, all kinds of different stuff. So grew up with that influence a lot. But yeah, so growing up in that part of the state, there's basically a lot of rock music being played, not a whole lot of R&B or rap or anything like that. But then I heard Public Enemy for the first time, and that changed everything. And then I heard 1999, and it was a wrap. So
the rest is history, right?
Yeah, listening to Prince, and then there's another group called Take Six that is a kind of a gospel a cappella group, and the high tenor in that group, his name's Claude McKnight. He's the brother of Brian McKnight. People may have heard of Brian McKnight. And listening to Claude and Prince pretty much showed me what I want to try and do, and so emulating them has kind of influenced my vocal style more than anything else.
Well, and it shows that you have a love for music. Both you guys do, and you're I guess when you get on stage between the two of you is this connection. It's like ESP or something, because you can glance over and somebody just takes it to the next level, and it's really, really cool. And I haven't been out yet to see a full DAT Band show, and I feel horrible about that, but it's just scheduling issues. Someday I'll get there, but you guys are getting ready to do a really big show this Friday down in Lebanon, Ohio.
Yeah, we're doing, it's called Third Friday on Mulberry Street, and they do it every third Friday during the summer. And so we are there Friday night, and the event actually starts at 5:00. There are two other acts, and one of them is called Lakewood, and the other is a guy named Sam Deary. He's a young guy from Lebanon doing a solo. I think it's acoustic act, and then we go on at 8:00, so we'll be on from 8 to 11.
Cool. And that's a fun event. Lebanon does it right down there on Mulberry Street. It's a great outdoor event. Saw last year, got a chance to see Catalina Wine Mixer there. That was fantastic. And some other great bands. And they do a great job. There's food trucks. There's all the restaurants there open and bars. It's just really a fun night.
Interesting story. We kind of got that show because we met Angie, who's with the Chamber of Commerce, but then she invited the mayor of Lebanon to come to a show of ours at the Bell and the Bear. And once she saw our show at the Bell, she was like, "We want you guys, absolutely." So, that's kind of interesting connection to the Bell there.
Yeah, and we have to give Karis a shout out, guys, because
absolutely.
There's a lady who knows how to run a music venue, and she has done amazing things with that venue. And it's not one of those venues that holds 400 people, man. It's just it's so intimate. And when you go hear anybody play there, whether it's Crown Watts or you guys or just somebody doing a solo on the stage like Jamie Combs every Tuesday there, it's just perfection. And the staff is fantastic. They all love music, and it has brought so many of us together. I've made so many connections. I would have never known you guys otherwise, and that's just what's cool about it.
And I would say real quick that it for us, it's not only really just music networking. It finally gives musicians an opportunity around town to be able to play together. So we can actually just hang out. It's almost like a musician's clubhouse on Thursday night.
Well, I think Chris had a great quote, and Chris, I'm not going to be able to do it word for word, but I think it was something like where musicians go to see other musicians play.
Yeah,
that you made. Yeah,
right, and it kind of along the lines of what Byron was just saying. Like it's kind of like our little clubhouse, so we can go and hang out. I mean, obviously everybody's welcome to come listen, but it's kind of like I exactly feel that way.
But even if you're not a musician, Scott, there are folks like friends of ours that were there. We had like a little outing for a birthday party. They loved it, just being able to see the interaction and be able to see musicians be able to feed off of each other, call out keys, and just go with the song. It's
I call it musical mayhem, but it's also magic. It is. It's magic.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
We got to give a shout out to Rick Dews, who's joined us today. How you doing, Ricky? Good to see you on here. We love Rick Dews. And Stephanie Reiner, who's a mutual friend of all of ours, who would have known. Stephanie says, make you guys sing an old camp song. Oh my God. I don't know what that's about.
That's not happening.
Absolutely not. Nice try, though.
Yeah, I met Stephanie when I was about 13.
Yep.
Yeah. I've known Stephanie for years and years and years, and a great lady there. And guys, this is fun, and I'm learning a lot about you. But I throw a question every time I do this at the bands that we have on. It's kind of my standard question, but I'm going to ask you each individually here. If I could put you on stage with anyone, past or present, that's an iconic musician, who would you take the stage with? I bet I know Chris's answer.
Go ahead.
Maybe.
I would go first. I would honestly, I know he wasn't the best guy to work for, but it would have to be JB for me, James Brown, without a doubt.
All right, Chris, you're up.
I actually have two. So my first would be my dad, best musician I've ever known, and absolutely that would be the person I would want to be on stage with. But if that was not possible, it would absolutely be Prince. Not even, the greatest all-around musician of our lifetime, in my opinion. People can argue with me if they want, but they're going to lose. So, it's an easy answer for me.
And they're all kind of part of the same family. But he was influenced by JB, and JB was a little influenced by him actually, and towards the end of his career. They're on a different level.
Well, and I knew you were going to say Prince, the purple one. We
have a winner.
Yes, we do. All right, there we go. We do have a winner, but that didn't surprise me, judging by what you play. And you do have a love also for Earth, Wind, and Fire. You guys do, and
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
and that's one of the greatest bands I've ever seen as well. I've seen Prince. I've seen Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Earth, Wind, and Fire still to this day puts on an incredible show, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just so much fun.
Now, the only
So-
reason I didn't say Earth, Wind, and Fire was because I'm not sure if I can hang with. I know I can't hang with those guys. So,
Well, you know,
I don't want to get on the stage and
If we're-
embarrass myself.
If
Scott.
that's what we're doing, then I am not getting on stage with Prince. Absolutely not. If that's our barometer, then no.
well, Chris, we can only hope Prince would just look over at you and nod his head like in approval,
right.
because that would be the greatest thing ever. Instead of dropping his guitar and walking off, you know. But yeah, that would be an iconic moment in anybody's life, and you know, things we've had on our show a lot about our Top 5 Tuesday show, where we've talked about the best Super Bowl performances, and his comes up as number one all the time. And you know, he was just an incredible artist, and James Brown, man, James Brown, the hardest working man in show business.
Soul Brother number one.
Yes, and he had the moves. He had the moves. He did. So let's chat for a minute here. We've got a few minutes left. Let's chat about something else. Let's take a little turn, and I want to know what your fondest musical memories are that you guys may have. You know, because there's a lot that goes into bands, and bands have a unique mentality about things that they remember being on stage and moments that hit them. So let's talk about that a minute.
So moments together, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, let's talk about DAT Band moments.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it was our first show at the Drinkery. We had just got together. We maybe been together, I don't know, a couple months, and our guitar player was like, "Well, I know the guy who owns the Drinkery or books for the Drinkery or whatever it is, and Bachfest is going on." And so there's this Bachfest is a big beer fest in Cincinnati, where they have a parade. And the parade goes right by the Drinkery. And so when the parade ends, everybody kind of pours into this place. And the guy didn't know us from nobody, just knew our guitar player. And they booked us for that show. And it was a packed house, the first show we ever played. And we just had a great time. And that show kind of said, look, we may be onto something here. Like, I think we can actually do this. So that was one of my big memories as DAT Band. For me, so I don't know about you, but
for me, to be honest with you, it was a rehearsal. Our original bassist had left the group, and we were auditioning for our new bassist. And in comes this guy named Rick. I think his last name's Dews, and it was my first time meeting him. And he called out a couple of songs, and then he called out, play that funky music. And what I heard come out of that bass, I almost cried. And
well, I think Rick has three hands. I really do. When he's playing that song, it's amazing.
And when I heard him he started doing that slap and everything. I said, "We're home." I said, "We're good. This is what we need. This is the color we need for this group."
Yeah, he's an amazing player, man. And you know, also an amazing person. Rick Dews is.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
a super guy, and it's fun to see that come together. And I've seen that play that funky music thing happen several times. And you know, Ricky's hands moving faster than I can see sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just amazing
with precision, though.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
It's clean. Yeah. Anyway,
that was perfect. It is.
Scott, can I talk about the other guys in the band real quick?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask about. I was going to say,
cool.
Let's mention them. So let's do it.
Yeah. So Byron's on trumpet and flugelhorn. And what do you do? What else do you do?
Like little percussion things. I do a little shaker, do a little tambourine. I used to do a melodica before we got Joe in playing sax. So I hung that up in the basement, which this is not.
So, and then he does backup vocals, obviously. And then Joe Poland is our sax player. Joe played with Robin Lacey and Zydeco for a long time, and then played with, I think, with the coolest band, H-Bomb Ferguson and the Medicine Men. Played with them for a long time, too.
And they're still together.
Correct. Yeah, Medicine Men are still together, yep. And then on guitar is Ed Mullins, and Ed was a longtime guitarist in a band called Stays in Vegas, and they're kind of still around doing their thing as well. And on bass we have Michael Van Horn is on bass. Michael was one of the original members of the Cliftones, which was Cincinnati reggae band, kind of back in the I think they're still around, actually.
I think it was like the early 2000s. Yeah.
And he so he was with them and then moved to Nashville for a while, and was there for a few years playing in bands. Drums is Elliot Rubin, and Elliot grew up in this area, was in a band with his brothers called Bluff back in the 90s. They were kind of a rock band, and Elliot just holds it down, does a great job. And then on keys, who am I missing? On keys is Mike Brokamp. And Mike is actually a teacher at Loveland Music Academy and was in another band with Byron and I for a short period of time. And I think that's everybody, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you cover them all?
Yes.
I hope we didn't leave anybody out. That would be rude. It would.
We got bass, guitar, keyboard.
Yeah, that's everybody. We got everybody.
Upcoming events. You've got a lot of them, like we mentioned Friday and the Friday in Lebanon coming up here this Friday, but you've got a ton of shows coming up. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, so Friday we'll be at Lebanon. Next Wednesday, the Voice of America Park here in Westchester does what they call the Hump Day concert series, and so we'll be doing that. I want to say that's like 7 to 9. Check on times for these things, because I'm being honest, can't keep them all straight.
Have been 7 to 9 in the past. And
then we are on August 7th. We're playing Get a Fest. We're the opening band at noon at Get a Fest down in Newport. We're playing Trillions August 14th. We're playing Powder Keg, Harley Davidson Powder Keg. Who knew?
That'll be fun
for bike night.
Yeah,
on August 27th.
That'll be fun.
We just booked the Upper Deck on September 3rd, which is a great place to play.
Awesome.
And like I said, on the 11th, we'll be here at Grainworks for their 4th anniversary. They have a whole music weekend going on that entire weekend. So Friday night, Monty Likens plays a solo acoustic act, and then Cassette Junkies will be here Friday night, and then us. And there's an unconfirmed other act that's playing that, if they confirm, is going to be pretty incredible. You'll want to be here for that night. And then Sunday, David Thornton will be here doing a solo acoustic as well. And then we got other shows coming up later on in the year as well. But yeah, we're doing okay.
You're doing well. And if people want to follow you, we had it up on the screen a minute ago, but let's talk about how they can find you on social and get to know you a little bit more.
Absolutely. So yeah, on Facebook, it's DAT Band Cincinnati. There is another DAT Band in the world, and they are based out of New Orleans. And they are wonderful, but they are not us. So make sure you're liking and following the correct DAT Band. You can like them both for all I care. As long as you like ours, that's great. And then you can find on Instagram and on Twitter, DAT Band Cincy. Don't look for us on Twitter a whole lot, but Instagram and Facebook most definitely.
There we go. What else you want to talk about today, guys? You have anything else you want to plug or promote or say shout out to?
I want to say shout out to Karis again, just because we played a show at Bell and the Bear, and since that show, our calendar has begun to fill. Like, we have the word of mouth about us has gotten around, and I can't say enough about how much we enjoy the Bell and the Bear and how much they've done for us.
Yeah, she's amazing, and she's a great stepping stone for a lot of people to come in and play there and get noticed, because the who's who of Cincy music is always in the house. That's what's cool about it. Absolutely. And the people there are I love the people there because they're encouraging. No matter how good you are, how new you are playing, whatever, there's no egos. It's just so encouraging. Yeah. And there's this family. It's just like a family every Thursday when I go there, and any other night I've been there, it's the same way. You see the same folks, and it's really great. So big shout out to Karis for sure.
I can't tell you a Thursday that I have gone that I have not met someone new. Mm-hmm. Every time I meet someone new. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Scott, for what you provide for all of us. All of us musicians in town, and letting folks know who's out, who's playing where, and it's an awesome tool to have you around, man.
Well, I thank you fellas very much, and this is what's fun for me right here, getting these interviews and having fun, and just a few weeks ago, we had John Wade on the show, not to drop a name or anything.
Look at you. Not to drop a name.
Yeah, we had John Wade on the show. He couldn't have been any nicer. And it's great that people in music still have a love for the little guys like us who are out there trying to promote and do things. And, because he could have interviewed with anybody in the country he wanted to that day. And, I had a chance to talk to him. So it's great to have guys like you on, learn more about you. Guys, follow DAT Band. I keep wanting to say the DAT Band. Follow DAT Band, and please like what they do and follow their calendar and get out and see one of their shows, just like I need to do. And as soon as I get back from a little vacation trip, we're going to find one of those DAT Band shows, and I'm going to secretly show up one night taking pictures of you from the front of the stage, probably, and putting it on the page.
Don't be surprised if we call you up.
Right.
I do not sing. I do not sing.
That's not true.
I heard you.
That's not true, Scott. We've seen you.
Get out of here.
I do not sing well. Okay, let's just put it that way.
Dixieland Delight. Don't even get
me
me Scott.
All right. That's our signature song there. And something else too, Chris, I've got to give you a big shout out for getting up there with my pal Seven West and singing Tennessee Whiskey that you guys do. And some of that, that's a great collaboration that you'd never expect out of a guy who comes up and sings, play that funky music and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And the next thing you know, you're throwing a country tune out there with another player around. And it just says a lot for your guys' character and what you do, man.
I mean, when you break it down, that is a super soulful song. I mean, it's a country tune, but man, there's a lot of soul in that. And
Chris brings it. Chris Stapleton brings it. I mean, he does too.
But
John Clare just called me out, man.
That's right, John. That's
called
right.
me out in the
Call
comments,
him out.
But yes. And there's a guy we should appreciate as well, since he's on here today, John Clare. Yep. And we're running out of time, but John Clare takes some incredible photographs. Every band could use him at their show because he makes them look fantastic. So that's awesome. Guys, I can't thank you enough. Byron, Chris, it's a pleasure every time I get to see you. Hopefully I'll bump into you this week on a Thursday night, maybe, and we'll have a little fun down at the Bell.
Thanks, Scott. We appreciate it.
Thank
you. All right.
For us.
Follow DAT Band on Facebook, everybody. I've been with Chris and Byron from the DAT Band. Guys, again, thank you so much for being here. We'll be back with you tomorrow with Who's Playing Out, brought to you by Froggies in Monroe, Ohio. And that's where we'll bring you the best musicians in the tri-state and where they're broadcast for now. Please share it with your music loving friends and let them know a little bit about